Hi everyone! So today we're doing Norse and Irish figurines. And so the way we're doing it today is we're doing... What was the discounts today? I'm sorry.
I hope you figure it out because I don't
Okay.
have it yet.
All right.
On
Okay.
figurines, we can do the same thing we did before.
All right. So we're going to do the same discount that we did with the Greek and the Egyptian figurines. So if you buy one figurine, you get 10% off. If you buy two, you get 20. If you buy three, you get 30, and if you buy four, you get 40, and then five or more, you get 50. So that's the way we're doing it. We're not doing free shipping, but we're doing the discount based on how many of them you purchase. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and start with our new location that we have our Norse and Irish figurines in, and we'll get ready to get started. All right.
Tell them how the bidding works and stuff.
Oh, and then and then the way the bidding is supposed to work on this is when I say the name of the deity and the price of it, and you're going to say sold, and that's going to tell us which ones you want. And then after the event, send us a Facebook private message that says which figurines you got, and we'll need your email address and a shipping address. If we don't get those three things, we can't ship it to you. So make sure you send us those three things after the event is over. All right, everyone? Let's get started. All right. Spun that one around a little bit on you. So what we've got here is a traditional Odin. He's got Hugin Munin, and he's got Freaky, and I always forget the name of the other wolf, but he's got both of his wolves. He's got his spear. All the traditional symbology associated with Odin is represented here. The one eye representing the sacrifice for the wisdom, the Allfather with the other all-seeing eye. This particular piece is $84.99. All right, we've got Freyr here, and he's got the boar behind him. All of these are done in the bronze resin finish. So he's got his cornucopia because he's representing the harvest and all of those things. This particular piece is actually a really great price for the size of it. It's only $47.99. All right. Now we have Odin with just one of his two ravens, and he's resting on a throne. All right, this particular piece of Odin is unpriced. That helps me. $104 for that particular one. All right. The next one that we're going to show you is Scotty, and I heard that somebody wanted us to talk a little bit more about Scotty when we came up. She's actually a Jotun, which is one of the ice giants. She lives in the northernmost parts of the highest mountains where the snow never recedes. One of the things that she's noted for is that she has a snake's venom that she traps Loki with, and she puts him in a position where he's in continuous pain with the snake's venom dripping on him. The reason why she's listed as a goddess associated with snowshoes is because when she was asked to choose her consort, she was supposed to ask based on what types of shoes they wear. So anyway, Scotty is a huntress. She's considered one of the beautiful ice giants, and she's incredibly fierce and feared by many of the Asgardians. She's not considered an Asgardian. She's an ice giant. This particular piece, showing her with the wolves that she's hunting with, and her weapons, and her snowshoes properly, that is $96.99 for that piece. She's about 13 inches tall, and she's a really beautiful piece. This is a different interpretation of the same deity, also Scotty. She's not technically a deity, she's an ice giant. It's really nebulous when you speak about that for the northern traditions, because Do you consider the dwarves and the elves and the different giants deities, or do you consider them just different races that are on par with the Asgardians? The Asgardians themselves are deities, so I guess you would classify them as deities as well. This particular version of Scotty is 76, and the green up there that she's holding is supposed to represent that poison that she does drip into Loki. All right. Well, speaking of Loki, we have Loki here with Fenrir and Jormungandr coming out of his cape. So it's showing his children. He's got the braids coming down his chin, well armored, his traditional axe. He's wearing a fur cloak. All right. And this particular piece is $74.99. I'll bring him out into the light so you can see him a little bit better. All right. So we do have drinking horns of different types. We have some that are dyed, like this one here. It has silver and on the top of the drinking area. These ones are $29.99, and the stand that we had that in is actually natural horn. It just rests right in it, and each one of those are $14.99. All right. So let's go on down to the next one. A more natural looking drinking horn. This one is $29.99. As you can see, it's not tiny, but it's not gigantic. It's a pretty nice one. We have that on a resin stand that's designed to look like antlers. And this antler stand is $34.99. So anyway, I'll show you that. All right. So this next statue I'm going to show you, it already says her name on there, but Frigga, she's weaving. She's also showing all of her different symbols. So she's got the swan and the sheep, as well as her caring for children. And she is $72.99 for that piece. The braids are done beautifully. I like the fact that they're showing her in her more maternal aspect. What we have behind her is actually a beautiful raven statue resting on a stone. All the detail that's in that raven is absolutely fabulous. That raven is $49.99. Behind them, we have actually some handmade journals that are made for us from a gentleman who makes them each by hand. He does all the leather by hand. He does the tooling by hand. He even dyes them by hand. This one is showing Mjolnir with oak leaves and skulls on its surface. And all three of these are $79.99, each of the three journals I'm going to show you shortly. We have another one that has the Nordic compass, as well as dragon boat heads on either side of it. Around that Nordic compass is all the runes. The back is also got a really nice intricate design. This one's actually $96 because it has all the gems set into it, so it's a little more expensive. We have two of those, so if you decide that you love that journal design, definitely reach out to us, say sold, and we will make sure that that gets to you. All right, so here's Odin. He's actually having a little conversation with Thought, or maybe Wisdom. And I'll let you see that bust. I like the fact that on this one they've actually given him feathers as opposed to horns. I know that many people who follow Northern tradition get upset when they see that they put horns on Nordic deities, considering that they never actually had horns. And this particular piece is $110.99. He's pretty heavy. He's about, as you can see, he's about 12 inches tall. I like all the details it shows, like the careworn that comes from that older version of Odin who's seen many things and has made many of his journeys. This is a different version of Frigga. This one she's actually resting on a throne. Again, she's doing her weave. She's carrying the keys. The symbol of the sheep is with her again. the throne is very well done with the Celtic dragons at the edges, or the Nordic dragons at the edges there. Behind her, oh, and the price on that particular frigga is $89.99. Behind her is a Valkyrie. It actually says Valkyrie right on her, which I think is funny. But these are the warrior goddesses, or the warrior, the warriors that protect all of the rest of the Asgardians. They're not necessarily considered goddesses in their own right. They're Asgardians who have a special role within their society. Anyway, this bust is very well, beautifully done. It's $54.99, which is a great price for that. She's even bigger than that Odin figurine that we had. She's about 13 inches tall. All right. So now we have a version of Odin riding Sleipnir. I love how much motion is happening in this particular piece. You can see all 8 legs are moving. This is actually Freaky running beside him, not Fenrir chasing him. They show his spear that never misses. All the amazing details. Even in the grass, there's just very well focused on making sure that the details are right and that the details are beautifully done. And then now we're going to have this interesting attempt to not break anything while I tilt him enough to see what his price is. This particular one is $112.99. All right. So, because we know that many of our northern festivities do involve some forms of drinking, we do have this awesome dragon boat that has 3 different shot glasses. And this particular piece, I'm going to take the glasses out so as not to break it. It has all the shields along the side, so it's supposed to represent all the bannermen or all those who are on the raid. And this particular piece is $36.99. So if you need the shot glass holder dragon boat, that is $36.99.
Somebody's asking if we have any other Valkyries.
We will have some other Valkyries coming up later. There's some smaller ones, and I'll get to those pretty soon. All right. Our next gentleman here, again, is Odin. This is kind of the Odin shelf right here. Again, Freaky, Hugin Mugen, sitting on his throne. He's got the the Nordic dragons behind him. This particular Odin is $118.99. He's a pretty heavy piece. Do I have the couch?
Somebody's asking if we have the couch. Yeah, they have.
All right. And then this is another interpretation of Odin. He's holding the Valknot in one of his hands. Sleipnir actually has runes running down his flank. Again, very dynamic in this piece. All right. So this particular Odin is $99.99. And you can see how big these pieces are. They're all about 12 to 14 inches tall. All right. So these fun little guys at the end are actually called Norses. And a lot of the people that I interact with that really enjoy the Northern Pantheon realize that they get Hel wrong so many times. So this is one of the few times where they've actually given her a desiccated face on one side and the beautiful face on the other side. Each one of the Norses are $19.99. And let me confirm that for all of them. Yes. We have Fenrir here, Loki, and then we've got Freya, Frigga, Odin, and Thor. Okay, that Odin on Sleipnir, that was $112. Let me go ahead and pull that aside for you. All right. Here you are. I got it. Hi, everyone. Okay, so someone was asking about Valkyries, And the only other Valkyries that we have, so we have this mini set which is really highly detailed. It's this one. I pulled it. And these ones are just $11.99 each. So
Nice.
there's Frigga. This is our only other Valkyrie. This is Vidar, Heimdall, Freyr, Thor, and then Skadi. All right. So someone was asking about if we have any more Lokis, and I've already gone over. It looks like someone pulled that other Loki, so we are, other than the Norse version of Loki, we are out of other Lokis at this time. All right. So this is Thor running across the Bifrost Bridge. He's got a very large hammer. It's kind of ridiculously large. I guess if you're a god of thunder who's a warrior god capable of doing all the feats that Thor is noted for, a hammer that size is not too big for you. But he's in motion with this piece. You can see he's running. I like the fact that they kind of capture him in the act of running across the Bifrost Bridge here. And this particular one is $77.99. These were just listed as general Norse figurines. They're not given a specific name, these guys. And they are $9.99. They're a little bit smaller. They're not as heavy as the other larger bronze pieces. But we have one that is very much, I would say he's more like Odin in the sense that he's an older gentleman. And then we've got this other gentleman who's a warrior. I love this version of Thor that I'm going to show you next because very few times do you actually see Thor represented with his goats. So he's traveling through the sky with the goats. Mjolnir's held up above him. They've made him look a little bit more rustic, and they didn't put him in fancy armor. He's wearing his girdle that doubles his strength. The amazing details on the Mjolnir, even though it's a more simple looking Mjolnir, it's very well done. It's actually designed to look very much like the Mjolnir necklaces that we see available. He's obviously fierce in his battle mode here in this particular one. He's not letting anybody tell him what to do. And then this one is just, and I guess this is probably the one time that it's appropriate to call someone a Viking, but he's a raiding Norseman who's on a boat, and being that Viking is the verb to go on a raid, it would be the one appropriate time to call this gentleman a Viking. This particular piece is $106.99, and he's really big and heavy. All the amazing details, all the knot work that's put into that. Even the grain within the wood is fully realized and detailed. It's beautiful. All right, the next gentleman I'm going to show you is Heimdall. He's got the rainbow bridge coming over his shoulder. He's sounding the horn. The nice thing about this bronze resin piece is they've actually put in the work to show the color of that rainbow bridge that's just swirling around him, being that he's the guardian of it. And this piece is $66.99. All right, one more version of Thor. This one, he's battling the dragon. I'm not sure whether this is specifically Jormungandr or if this is another dragon. I'm going to look at the notes that say which dragon. So they say he's just battling, yes, this is Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. So he's got this ridiculously large version of Mjolnir that he's smashing down on Jormungandr's head. Of course, he's not going to go into battle with just his hammer. He's got additional weapons. Every scale is fully detailed on both the dragon every part of his hair and all the spikes on his armor are fully detailed in such a way that you put this on this piece on your altar, and you're definitely making a statement that you're connecting with that warrior aspect of Thor. All right, and then this is one of the versions of Heimdall that many of my Norse fans really love, and the reason why they love it is because they also have the rooster on the front of it there. He's sounding the horn. That Bifrost Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, fully detailed. Each of the colors is realized, and then right there, standing on the post, that rooster's giving you the call, letting you know it's time to come to defend Asgard. And that one is $67.99. So one of our favorite sets of Oracle decks that we've carried for a long time is this Stacey DeMarco Viking Oracle deck. The thing that's really beautiful about it is that they do two things. They try to show you both representations of the runes and representations of the deities. There is Valkyrie listed right there on this deck. You see Odin's over here on this side. This deck has 45 cards and a complete book. Everything that Stacey DeMarco does is really well researched, so when you get this deck, you know that you're going to be getting some good information as well as some beautiful art. All right. Now we come down. We've got one more Raven. This one is standing in front of a cross. Kind of a little sassy. I like that attitude that this guy's got. He's kind of, I can hear it cawing in my own mind. Maybe it's because I live in the Northwest and I'm surrounded by crows that are always letting me know what's going on. But that one's $34.99. The next gentleman I'm going to show you is Tyr. So this is Tyr battling Fenrir. This is his act of sacrifice where he allows his hand to be devoured in order to trap Fenrir. You can see that the chains are in place on Fenrir, and he's involved directly in that battle. That willingness to sacrifice for victory, fully represented in Tyr. And he is $89.99 for that particular piece. Again, I love the fact that they actually... Okay, we got that one. Thank you, Piper. Got it for you. All right. The next friend we have to show you is Balder. So Balder is the son of Odin and Frigg. He is the most beautiful of the gods. He was a god of truth and light and is knowledgeable in healing, herbs, and runes, which made him the favorite among the people of Midgard. Loki and one of their major giant deities battled him in an attempt to trick him to give him the craftiness, but due to Balder's capabilities, he was able to defeat Loki. It frequently happens. Loki comes up with a harebrained scheme. He tries to trick somebody into doing something, and then they battle back. So this is Balder. This gentleman here is not listed as being any specific northern deity, but he is a gentleman with a winged crown. He's got that green dragon behind him. And you can see all the details that are in his armor are just fantastic. I like the fact that with this specific set of figurines, they try to make the armor a little more authentic to what would have been expected in those areas. So they're not putting him in full plate armor, which wouldn't have been typical for Norsemen to be wearing. And so they're trying to show them to be a little bit more realistic. All right, this is yet another interpretation of Balder. You can see that sun shield there. The sweeping cape, the spear, those are all symbols of Balder. All right, so this is a version of Tyr after his battle with Fenrir. It's kind of what happens when someone eats your hand, but you still want to be able to fight and be part of the raiding tradition and the warrior tradition that is associated with a lot of the northern gods. So they've chosen in this version to represent him having his hand replaced with a spiked mace. I'm not sure how he's supposed to use a spike mace, the shield, and the sword, but maybe when you lose the sword, you pull up the shield, maybe for one-on-one battle. And then our last interpretation of Tyr is actually with a very large and very bestial version of Fenrir. I imagine if you've got a god devourer of an animal, that you're going to have that wolf be large enough that it could actually tear you apart. So that particular version of Fenrir is giant with Tyr. And this particular one is $110.99. And I realized that I didn't list the price on the last couple pieces. So the Tyr with the spike ball was $69. The Balder with the shield was $55.99. The Norseman with the dragon was $74.99. This Balder was $62.99. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, so we're coming around, and this is a beautiful tree that's been done using Lisa Parker's artwork, and it's actually a table. It's got the bunny at the base, the swirling knotwork in the tree. There's an owl in the tree as well as the moon, and the price on that particular table is $57.99, which is a really nice price for this altar table. All right, we're coming back. This Mjolnir box, show you all the detail in that, the face of that box. Around the edge, they have runes. I haven't translated the runes myself, so I can't tell you specifically what they say. Maybe one day I'll get a chance and read those for you. But this is $34.99. All right, the next thing I'm going to show you is actually a series.
110 here. Sold.
Okay.
Is that him?
Yeah. Is a series of candles that we just got in, and each one of these candles has a rune associated with it. So we have Degaz, which is a rune of growth. Awaz, self-defense. I'm not sure that I would specifically associate Awaz with self-defense. Feo is success, victory. I can see that. All right. Geba, Genaz, Kor, Pars, Raido, Sigil, Taraz, Tyr, and Uruz. Each one of these is just $16.99. It comes with the rune necklace and the pillar candle. So if you need any of these candles, just say which rune it was or which aspect it is. So for instance, health, victory, wealth. We'll get them for you and we'll pull them, all right? All right. So if you did not like specifically the horn stands, we also have these metal stands that you can put your drinking horn in, and these ones are $7.99. I'm going to go to the top of the display here so you can actually see how our horns look in those displays. They can hold pretty much any size horn, and that's the nice part about it. We've got some really large ones and some really small ones. $7.99 for those stands. And I'm going to go through and I'm just going to show a couple of these horns. The thing that's unique about this specific one is that it does have that brass cap at the end as well as the top. It's $39.99. It's an all-natural horn, which is so all those lines that are going through that horn are all part of the natural growth structure of that horn. And these ones have already been cured, so you can drink from them already. Any of the ones that have those silver or brass tops are ready to drink from right from the beginning. And then this one as well, also ready to drink from, $29.99. All right. So I didn't plan ahead for that, but I do have, and I don't know if you can see it up there, it's a raven wall plaque that almost looks like a mask. And I'm going to see if anyone can help me. No. Okay. I'm going to grab a chair, so bear with me for a second. I'm going to grab something that I can stand on. We're going on an extra little journey during this video so that I can get something to stand on. All right. For when I did the Greek and Egyptian statuary, I had a step stool with me beforehand. I should have planned on that for this one. All right. Oh, there we are. This is a beautiful Mjolnir. This one's done by Alchemy of Gothic. It's a wall plaque. It's $39.99. It's done with this kind of intentional burntish finish to look like it's slightly oxidized metal, but with the shiny brass. So let's get that raven head down. So that raven head, and I want you to see all the beautiful knotwork that's put into that piece. That one is just $49.99. I successfully put it back up without dropping it. That was great. All right. So now we're going to travel a little into more Celtic artwork and Celtic designs. This one is actually one done with each of the 4 seasons. It's a Maxine Miller piece of art. The nice thing about that is it actually has a different holder for each of the 4 seasons, so that depending on which season you're in, you can rotate this piece. And this one is just $39.99. It's a beautiful wall plaque. You can see that it has the moon phases traveling around the edges. There's appropriate plants for each of the seasons, and then the stags themselves have different lengths of horns representing where they are during the course of the year. All right. And I'll give you something interesting to look at while I'm climbing up and down things instead of just giving you a shaky image of me jumping all around. There we go.
And that's $39.99. Is that what Michelle wanted?
Okay.
It says $39.99 sold. I don't know if that's what she wanted. Oh. Hold on.
I'll get it in a minute. All right. I don't know if I mentioned this crow earlier or raven earlier. The beautiful thing about this is all the additional knotwork details that are put into this one. This crow is very stern. Very much something to say. $79.99 for that piece. This particular crow pentacle is really hard to show when it's up against the wall, but when you get some light that comes through it, you definitely want to put this in a window. This one is $21.99. All right, so I've been told that I need to get that raven down. I'm going to move the chair, and then we're going to go into an area that I can actually reach.
Okay, and then Michelle says the Mjolnir. So I don't know what you were on. I'm so sorry. She wants a mask. And then she had said $39.99. Didn't know if that was the Mjolnir. So I think that's what she's talking about. Is that $39?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Michelle got
Hello, Angela's helping. She's running and getting the stuff for you guys. So while I do the video on this one, just like when she was doing the videos, I was the one running. So now she's the one running. So we're trying to share the duties. You know, we're doing what we can. All right. So stepping into the more Irish traditions, what we have here is the Mother Danu. If you know much about the traditions of the Tuatha De Danann, she is literally the tribe of Danu is what Tuatha De Danann means. Tuatha is tribe. Danu is associated many times with the Danube River. So when I show you some of the figurines that'll be coming up in the future, you will see that river aspect of her. But she is the mother goddess, frequently associated as being the consort of Cernunnos, but depending on which translations you're reading, which source material you're reading, you're going to get different answers. And that particular piece is $86.99. So I'm going to show you that the trees, the rocks, they've put so much attention to detail into this piece because they're really trying to get it right. The nice thing about the companies that we carry figurines from is they're, for the most part, even if they're made in China, they're family-run companies where the most of the family lives here in the United States, but they have family in China who does production for them. They make sure that all of their artists get well paid and that they're being treated well. So this isn't like traditional Chinese factories. These are all family-run companies who make amazing figurines. And in fact, they listen to us when we talk to them. We've had them even create a few figurines based on some of our feedback. And some of those figurines have done both very well for us and very well for them. So this particular bookend, and I want you to see all sides of this one, is another interpretation of Danu. She's holding the stars. She's got the world tree behind her. That particular bookend is $74. All right, so this particular version of a crow on a box, I would consider this much more the Celtic rather than the Norse. There's knotwork inside, which is that traditional square knot inside. This particular piece is $42.99. All right, this is one of my favorite interpretations of Danu. This is done by Maxine Miller. You can see all the details. She's almost 2 feet tall. You can't really see how large she is when I'm that close to her, so I'm going to take a step back so you can see how big she is compared to the other pieces. Yeah, and that one, she weighs easily 15 pounds. She is huge. And you have the salmon of wisdom jumping at her side. Oh, sorry. And then you can see all these different symbols of life, dragonflies on her back, the triple moon, the tree of life behind her, which is a birch. In the Irish tradition, frogs. And then in Ireland, the eel is very important because it represents a water snake. So that particular piece is $152.99. And then we have Gaia. Gaia is travels, I guess she would be represented in many different traditions. She's more of a universal goddess. You can see that they have owls, different spring birds in her hair. This mushrooms around her edge. She's got wood bark representing her clothing. The tree branches are almost like antlers. This bronze piece is $79.99. All right. A rarely seen Irish deity is actually sometimes considered Scottish. She's Boudica. She's raising her horn, blowing the horn, carrying her spear. The beautiful red hair done through the bronze triskel on her belt buckle, and she is $69.99. This one's another Maxine Miller piece, and this one's actually her holding up the wheel of the year. So you've got 2 young men who are carrying the bottom of it. You can see that it starts at midsummer, goes all the way through. She's actually got her hands at Beltane and Lunasa. So I'm going to rotate that around. You can see the fortress representing this aspect of the circle of the year through the sun. I loved all the knot work that's done in the braiding of her hair. If you need, do you need the Gaia there, Kristen? All right, and then this wheel of the year is actually $114.99. All right. While I'm up here, I'm going to show this version of Maxine Miller's version of Cernunnos as a plaque. So it's got all the different wild beasts. You can see the wolf and the horned serpent in one hand, representing wisdom. He's wearing the torque. He's holding the torque. He's actually got his legs crossed in a very specific pattern. There's symbology to each and every gesture that's happening in this specific piece. So if you want to learn more about that, we can talk about it next time you get to come into the store. But if you need it right now, that particular piece is $69.99. All right. I don't know if you can see her well, but this is Caradwin, also done by Maxine Miller. We carry quite a few of her pieces. She's a local artist from the Portland area. She does a lot of amazing things, and if you want to reach out and follow her, Celtic Jackalope is her website. They tend to do a lot of events, and she's got t-shirts and decks and a lot of other artwork, not just what we carry from her. So reach out to a great local artist, support her work. She does both Celtic and Norse art, and she does a really great job. She researches everything fully, so when you get a piece of art from her, you know you're getting something really good that's been well researched. All right, this is her interpretation of the sun. It's $69.99. And then similar to that Four Seasons, she's actually done a Wheel of the Year. And if you zoom into it, you can see that it says each of the holidays on the spokes. This one does have hooks on the back for each of the holidays as well. So you can rotate this piece to make it so that the holiday that is most current is on top. And that's $59.99 for this one. And I just want to show you the detail. Oh, that's a little blurry. All right. And then we're going to back out. She's also done a triple goddess that has a snake with Celtic knotwork down the center of that one. This is showing the mother, maiden, crone. There's hounds underneath the mother. There's salmon beneath the maiden. And then there are crows by the crone. And you can see that there's flowers around that maiden, and they change during the course of the year. This one also is designed to be rotated according to what time of the year or what time of your own life you're in, and that particular piece is $59.99. All right. Now we get to move on to statuary that's down here where I don't have to be on any ladder. Yay! All right. So this is Rhiannon. She's a goddess associated with horses. Remember that in Celtic, both Welsh and Irish theology, horses are considered one of the highest valued animals. They're never sacrificed because they're considered representation of sovereignty and kingship. She is $97.99 for that piece. I'm going to rotate it around so you can see all the detail in it. The thing that's beautiful about these is that you can see the motion in the grass. You can see the motion even on the piece of fur that she's riding on when she's sitting on that. These cute little Celtic skulls, I don't know if you saw that when I was going around. These ones are all $5.99. There's several of them. Each time you see one of the Celtic skulls, let us know. Just tell us what colors you see and we'll try to match those up. This one would be bright yellow on top with green on the bottom. All right. So similar to Maxine Miller's version of the Cernunnos statue, the plaque that I showed you earlier, this is a statue. This is not by Maxine Miller. This is actually a different artist entirely. But you've got all the wild beasts. You've got a small bear and a deer and a snake down at his base. He's got his legs appropriately crossed, just like they're crossed on the version that you see of Cernunnos on that was originally found on the side of a jar in Ireland. So you've got the serpent in one hand. He's wearing the torque as well as holding the torque. Those things all have significance in the symbology of both holding rulership and being right for rulership. So those are all aspects associated with Cernunnos, the horn god. All right. So I'm going to see if I can get into the back here because I want you to see this Rhiannon that's in the back. This is Maxine Miller's version of Rhiannon. The thing that I love about every single piece that she does is she doesn't just represent the deity when she draws it. She tries to weave the entire story of that deity into the figurine. So you can see spears of the riding men. You can see that the entirety of wealth and prosperity is sewn into herself. There's the dragon, the Welsh dragon, as well as the Celtic dragons. It's the keys of knowledge are there, the keys to the kingdom, power. So all of those aspects, every time you see a piece that's from Maxine Miller, you know that she's going to be putting in all those details that are necessary for you to really connect to that God form. And this one's $110.99. I realized that I skipped the price on Cernunnos. I was holding you in anticipation for that one. All right, you ready? He's only $82.99, which is a really great price for that well-detailed of a piece. All right. So this is Danu. She's represented in this sense as the river. You can see that she's got the river flowing through and over her. Her hair is done in the pleated knots. The river snakes are swirling around her. She's part of the mountainside. She's part of the scenery. She's part of nature. And that's what they're really trying to show, is that she is the river. She is the soil. This Danu is $66.99. All right. And one of my favorites, and we're going to show you that. There's one more of those Celtic skulls. She's $5.99. One of my favorite pieces. This is the Morgan. They list her as Morgan Le Fay in the from the company that we get them from, but I see her as Bave, or the battle aspect, or the battle crow. They show there's knotwork on the back. For some reason, they've decided to put runes in the knotwork. Given that she's a Celtic deity, I'm not sure why they chose to put northern runes on her, but you can see in here that she's risen above that battle. She's understands who lives and dies in battle, and that's part of her sovereignty aspect. Very fierce. All right. So I'm going to show you this version of Cernunnos. He's got an eagle behind him. He's holding a fox. It's actually a crow behind him. He's got a wolf at his side. He's got the berries in his hand. And on the back, there's actually a poem by Walt Whitman. I wanted you to see all aspects of that. The Walt Whitman Cernunnos, they call this one the Druid specifically, is $96.99. That battle aspect, Babe, that I didn't give you her price, she was $77.99. And I'll let you see, she's got all those like tattoos in her skin. The artist really spent some time trying to understand this goddess when he made that statue.
So can you show that purple skull for Angie Kit? She wanted to know if we had a purple Celtic skull, and we do not, but it's like a...
Okay, hi Angie. I've been told that you need to take a look at a purple skull. So this one's kind of translucent, and this one's only $6.99, which is a great price, and I'll let you get a little bit of light through it so you can see how nice that is. Okay. So the next goddess I'm going to show you is actually Brigid. This is also, you might be starting to notice there's a specific style to Maxine Miller's art. Brigid is the goddess of healing, of wells. She's a goddess of smithing, poetry. She's the mother of the craftsmen amongst the Celts. So I love that they actually put... All right, we got that for you, Angie. And then, so they're showing her smith aspect. She even went in to make sure that she's showing a Brigid cross. There's a Triskelt knotted into her hair. Because she's associated with Imbolc, it's early spring. They're showing sheep in their younger form, and then they actually have a Brigid's cross swirling in the well. So I'm going to slide her back, but first I'm going to tell you how much she costs, because that's part of this whole process, right? $89.99 for that Brigid. All right. So they call this gentleman Herne. Herne the Hunter is specifically associated with a forest in Great Britain. He's kind of the next progression after Cernunnos. So if you're someone who's already working with Cernunnos, Herne the Hunter is a kind of a Welsh equivalent. So nobody has anything associated with ear. I'm so sorry to tell you that. We did look into that, and I did contact some of our figurine makers, and it's just Irie. it's not something that we can specifically get at this time. That Kern is actually 92. All right, so we're drifting down to the next group. Again, another Maxine Miller piece. This one is $54.99. The difficulty with a lot of the deities is that you have to convince the companies that make the figurines that there's enough of a draw, because they have to put a lot of work into dedicating time of an artist to research and then make the pieces. So they've got to hear from multiple different vendors that they sell to that that's something they're looking for. And so some of the more obscure deities, or those who are mentioned briefly that are very important to some people's individual practice, just aren't commercially made. And so that's something that happens, unfortunately. So we have Rhiannon here. These are all done in kind of a Victorian style. We have the Morgan and Brigid. It's showing all of they actually have all of their appropriate symbols with them, which is really great. And the three of them, that trio, they're each $44.99. So if you're interested in any of those three, again, Rhiannon, you notice the crown of sovereignty associated there. It's because horses are so associated with sovereignty in Irish traditions. Then we have the Morgan, and then the Brigid. She's holding the sacred flame. She's got her weapons that are representative of her being of the forge, that beautiful red hair. All right. And then we have a different finish on that Brigid statue that I showed you before. So we have the bronze above, and then this is like a wood-looking finish. And this one, again, I think you can see some of the details a little bit better. So, for instance, the acorns on her belt, the shamrocks around her, the threshing that she's holding, and this particular one is $72.99. And as you can see, that's a pretty large piece in comparison to my hand. She's at least 12 inches tall. And interestingly enough, when we were in Ireland a number of years back, and we were at her chapel in Kildare, they actually have Maxine Miller's piece there. All right. So this is a very fierce aspect of the Morrigan. This is also done by Maxine Miller. You can see that the crow is above her, the wolf is in her bodice, and the eel is riding up her leg. Those are all aspects of animals that the Morrigan turns into. They don't show the heifer. I'm not sure why, but there's a lot to fit into one image. But they got the skulls at her base, triquettas. That particular piece is $69.99 if you needed that one. All right. So the next figure I'm going to show you is also a version of Brigid. So this is showing her with the sacred cauldron. That sacred cauldron has the Brigid's knot right on the front. If you've ever been to Brigid's Well in Kildare, which is nowhere near her chapel, it's actually kind of a off the beaten path and near a Chinese garden in the countryside. They have an archway that looks exactly like this that has a statue of Brigid by Brigid's Well. But all right, how are we doing on time? We're doing pretty well. Okay, so that particular version of Brigid is $99.99 in that full color version like that. All right, so the ones that we have here next are actually representative of the sacred god and goddess. Below the goddess, these are also Maxine Miller pieces. It says, "I evoke the dark sacred night. I evoke the bright blessed day." We've got both of those there. And then we also have them in this darker finish. They are $69.99 each. All right. We have a Hearn down here. He's slightly younger. He's carrying a staff instead of a bow. There's a snake at his base. This particular one is $69.99. If you need him, give a shout out. This one's a little bit older. He's a more seasoned hunter. You can see that he's got that beard. He is $66.99. This is a smaller version of that Danu that was up above. So if you don't need one that's 2 feet tall, and you would do well to have one that's just about 10 feet tall or 10 inches tall, it's all got exactly the same symbology that was on the larger piece. And then this one is only $69.99. So it's if you've got a smaller space, or you just don't want to completely dominate your altar with Danu, but you still need her represented, that's a really great way to have her. All right, and this is another interpretation of the Morrigan. I see this one as the Bave as well. She's riding above the battle. You can almost hear her screech of the battle. The crows are below her. The bodies of the fallen are below her. This particular piece is $89.99. So this Danu that's back here, this Mother Danu, is actually a discontinued piece. It's from the artist in Britain, and the company that was previously making these pieces no longer has a license. So when these two specific Danus are gone, these Mother Danus are gone, then they're gone forever. So just letting you know that. They're $76.99. And then the last one is a Caradwyn or Awen. It's Awen for the Welsh and Caradwyn for the Irish. And you'll notice that she's swirling our knots, our fates, in her cauldron. The cat, the rooster, and the boar are all representations of her, and she's $72.99. We have a series of Celtic skulls along the bottom here.
Ooh, Michelle. Yeah. Get all the stuff.
Okay.
All right, Michelle.
All right. Sorry about that. A little bit of shakiness. Okay. So these Celtic skulls, fully detailed. Some are a little bit lighter, and they're and some of them just have better painting and better materials. So, like for instance, this one is only $24.99. As you can see, it's about this. It's more than a full handful for that piece. Whereas this one that I'm going to show you next, I'm going to show you there's a definite quality difference, which is why this one's more expensive. So you can see that on this one, each one of the knots has been fully realized. They put in all the additional work, and this one weighs easily twice as much as that other one did that I just showed you. So even though they look the same, the quality of this one is much better. And this one is $49.99, and that's represented in its price. It's actually quite heavy. This guy is fun. It's got Celtic dogs along the side. It's all done with golden knotwork and green. And this one's actually a piggy bank, so you can start with your knowledge bank right here. It's $32.99. And then the natural bone finish. This one also very heavy. I want to say that this head weighs almost 10 pounds. I like the fact that they made the teeth a slightly different color. They did the eye sockets slightly darker. This one is $46.99. This Alchemy Gothic head is really fun. I'm not going to turn it on. Well, maybe I will. See if there's bad. Oh no, it's got a little thing in there to prevent me from doing it. But this little Alchemy Gothic skull, he's lights up and his eyes light up. It's $29.99. I got it, Kitey Bell. We'll pull that skull aside for you. All right. So we've got some fun additional things in the Celtic section, and it's Our Family is a Circle of Life. And each one of these is like a tree charm. These tree charms done in brass and silver and pewter are $9.99 each. So if you need one of those, let us know. The Caradwyn that was $72.99 is also sold? Okay. Got it. Woo. All right. Yep. All right, so this is that interpretation of Cernunnos, but it's done on a box, which is a really beautiful way to do it. I love how they made the torque stand out by doing that in silver, whereas the rest of it is done in this almost gargoyle finish, this dark gray. You can see the depth that they put into the trees behind him. There's a bear and a wolf. They correctly put his legs in that cross pattern. For those of you who know the reason for that, good on you. I don't want to actually have to explain all those things on the video today. But $49.99 for that box. This Celtic Harmony, the completion candle, and it's showing that complete circle. These are all $16.99 for those pieces. All right. In this section, we also have a sand timer that's trees, Celtic knotwork on the top. That's $34.99. The green Celtic journal probably has its price hiding on the inside, so let me find that for you. Sure enough, whoo, sorry about that shakiness. This particular green journal has a brass clasp on it. It was $46.99. The feather's not included. That's actually a quill pin. Those are sold separately. They're $16.99. So there's a series of hand-carved, beautiful boxes. Treskel on the top. It's $37.99. This Tree of Life journal, I believe it's also $46.99. $49.99 with the double clasp. If you need any of those things, do let us know. Triqueta. This is made out of soapstone. This is $7.99. The soapstone box with the Triqueta on it is $9.99. That's a really great price. If you don't have it, you should snap it up while you can. These Tree of Life boxes are $16.99. I have 2 of those. And then this small but very beautifully done Triqueta box. This one's $14.99. These Tree of Life bronze resin boxes. Let's just see that. Total is $42.99. And then we have a series of skulls. Some have Celtic knotwork, some of them don't. I'm just going to pass by each one of these real quickly. Actually, real slowly. And each one of these is just $9.99, which is a really great price for these. All right. And then we have a couple Celtic trees. This is done by one of our favorite companies, Most Amazing. They really care about doing things right. They're using good woods. They care about the environment. They're made here in the U.S. They're $19.99 for the 6-inch size Tree of Life. And they're $24.99 for the 12-inch. So really great products. They do all that wood etching. And one last thing we're going to show you before we're done for today. If you enjoyed those smaller Norse figurines that I was showing you earlier that were at the end of the display, there's actually a whole wall-mounted display that has each of the deities available. So we put one of each on this one. So you can see there's Frigga, Odin, Thor, the Valkyrie, Freyr, Heimdall, Vidar, Balder, Skadi, and Tyr. And each one of these figurines is just $11.99. And even though they're not huge figurines, the beautiful thing about them is that they're all very well detailed. I don't know if you can see all that. And our last thing is this particular Mjolnir done by Maxine Miller. Face is part of it. You can see the thunder heads above his head. This one's $41.99. All right. Did I make it?
You did pretty good. You're only 5 minutes over.
All
Remind
right.
them they all need to send us a message, even if they bought before. Like, send us a message.
Okay. So I'm going to remind everyone, if you asked for us to get you any of these items and you would like to have them as part of your personal collection, you have to message us. Send a private message to Crescent Moon Gifts through Facebook. You're going to tell us what items were the ones that were yours, and we need to have your email address and your mailing address so that we can get these things sent out to you. So we'll try to get these done within the next 24 hours, and then
Payment is due
once we send you the invoice, then you have 24 hours. We'll ship once we have received the payment on those.
And let them know to tell us if they're still shopping other videos.
Okay.
We'll hold them.
And then Miss Angela is also reminding me that if you're planning on watching any of our other videos that are coming up and you would like us to hold it to make it one shipment all at once, we can hold things for you, but definitely tell us, please hold for another video. So just let me see everything one more time.
Tomorrow we have tea, coffee, and food items.
Tomorrow is going to be tea, coffee, and food items,
including the CBDs.
Including our CBD products.
And then Friday is incense.
Friday will be incense. Of all types. So that'll be resin incense. That will be our burners for the incense, the charcoal, all of those things that you need for burning your incense. That's going to happen on Friday.
And the big crystal event on Tuesday.
And then always remember, we're getting ready to pull out all of those crystals from the Tucson show. So there's 2,000 pounds of crystals. That's going to be our Tuesday video. We're giving everyone one last chance to see a thing. If you see something as I'm passing by, just be like, that was that thing. I needed it.
Did you go over the drinking horn?
Yes, I went over the drinking horns.
Everybody's day drinking, so if they need to day drink.
Right. So if you want a day drink like a Norseman, make sure you get yourself a drinking horn. And if you feel like raiding your neighbor's house while day drinking like a Viking, then you can also use your horn drinking horn here. All right, we're signing out. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking with us. Have a great day.